name is Vivian Villacis.
My name is Raul Villacis, and in this podcast, we're going to help you ignite your passion in your business, in your marriage, and in your life. Welcome to the Ignite Your Passion podcast. My name is Raul Villacis, and I'm here with a beautiful queen.
Yes, so happy to be here. My name is Vivian Villacis.
And who do we have
here?
here?
We also got Chanel.
Coco Chanel. What happened to Coco Chanel? Before we start the podcast, tell them why she's here.
Well, one, because we love her, but two, because she had a little accident when she stayed with Grandpa.
This week, it's been a rough week. It's been a rough week. The common denominators: don't let Grandpa take care of the dogs. All right, I'm not good with dogs. I'm not good with kids. Yeah, that has been established. I was babysitting her, bringing her to the office, and then she hit her leg in the door, and now she is.
Yeah, she fractured her paw. Unfortunately.
But we'll keep praying for her. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. So if you're watching this in YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this in Facebook, just comment below and let us know where you're watching us from. So we're back in another episode of the podcast, and the theme is
the
3 questions that you should ask yourself before the end of the year. This podcast title came because we just came back from our couples retreat, the Inner Circle retreat. How was that?
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. I think that's something that everybody needed it. The way that it's set up at the end of the year, I think it's perfect. And every time we go into the event, I'm thinking like, this is not a good idea. The November, December time is one of the craziest times, just not even because of the holidays, but because of everything that we have going on. And our kids aren't even around yet, but it's just that energy of like, there's so much to do. We want to end the year. There's just a lot happening, but it couldn't come at a better time. And I think it was perfect to be there with the people that were there, the way that we did it, and everything that we came away from that event. For me, it was just absolutely perfect.
The way I look at it is we bust our ass every single year to make things happen. Like the year of 2025 has been a year of pressure. Like I called it at the beginning of the year that this is going to be the year of the breakthrough, right? Mm-hmm. And at the end of the year, I always like to bring my inner circle members, the guys who I talk to on a weekly basis, the guys who are constantly in the battlefield, those guys who I believe we sharpen each other's edge. Like I'm surrounded with an amazing group of men that challenge me, I challenge them. And at the end of the year, we like to look back and see how far we've come and what are some of the challenges that we have overcome. And most important, cast the vision for the following year. So the 3 questions came from our Inner Circle retreat. We're going to share with you. If you're watching this, I suggest you do this with your family, before the end of the year, at the holiday season. Just ask these simple 3 questions. Because the moment that you start asking questions and you start really creating the framework, you're going to start seeing that the mind works in a subconscious level. You get what you focus on the most. Like the law of attraction, people think that only because you focus on something, you're going to get it. No, it's the intention that's behind the thought that matters. Because we get thoughts every single day on negative thoughts, positive thoughts, but what's the energy that you give those thoughts? And I believe questions, journaling, asking questions, having conversations, they spark breakthroughs so you could actually start focusing on things that are important.
And I also think it's a good time for you to do this. I know like we do this, the 2 of us, and we do it with our family, and we do it with, like you said, the inner circle. But it gives you feedback, not only for yourself, but like your spouse and the people that are around you. It's like feedback of what you did right, feedback as to like what challenged you and what you could improve. And if we don't talk about those things, then we just end the year not knowing like, okay, what happened? And we're already starting another year without just having like this clear vision as to where we're going.
Here's what I believe. Most people live life unconsciously, and they think that the beginning of the next year is going to just wipe out everything that they went through the previous year, right?
Yes. Let's forget about
year,
it.
new me, right?
Yeah.
I think that's bullshit, because the reality is if you don't analyze the year that you went through, you're going to run the same patterns over and over again.
I agree.
Right? The opportunity that you have when you start looking back at the year is seeing what are the patterns, what are some of the obstacles, what did I learn, so you could extract those lessons and you don't repeat the same patterns. So what's the first question that we ask?
So we asked them about what did they learn? Like what was the biggest lesson that they had for the year? And I know sometimes that's like a loaded question, because you think back on the year and most of us can't even like think back of like, okay, because you're so caught up in maybe the challenges that you're facing that you want to just kind of finish up before the year comes. But I think the moment that we get to sit in this place, and that's kind of what we did for them and all of us, we got to see like, okay, what was the biggest lesson? And most of the biggest lessons came from the biggest challenge.
So the way that we frame the question, the first question that we ask constantly is, what are you grateful for? What can you be grateful for in the past year? Because see, you can't build momentum unless you have gratitude.
Right.
You know, I talked about how gratitude is the underrated muscle that we have. Like
Yeah.
the gratitude muscle has to be built.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most underrated things that people don't use, because you can't be grateful and stressed at the same time.
It can exist in the same space.
You have to choose. Which one are you going to be? Are you going to be grateful for the things that you have, or are you going to be stressed because of the things that you're going through, right? So with the first question was, what can you be grateful? What are you actually grateful for that you've accomplished this year? What can you say, you know what, I'm winning in this. I'm grateful because I'm winning in this area. I'm grateful because this is what I've learned, right? So we begin with gratitude. And one of the things that, like for me this year, has really pushed me to let go of control. And if you follow this, you know that my daughters and my son, they're in college. We're empty nesters. So really pushing outside of our comfort zone to create a new lifestyle for us. So letting go of control, trusting that my daughter, when she's in school, she's going to be okay. Trusting that my son, when he's in school, he's going to be okay. Just even with the dogs, trusting in the process. They get hurt, they're going to be okay. What would you say when it comes to like letting go of control, and what have you seen in the way that I show up? How has that impacted you, your ability to show up as well?
That's so funny you say that, because every time we talk about this, right, like letting go of control, we laugh and we have this joke with like one of the Inner Circle members. They're like, Raul, you got to take out of your phone your Life 360. For those of you who don't know, Life 360 is the one that you actually get to have as a family group, as a family nucleus. You follow each other. You know where they are. You know how fast they're going. We got this when our kids started driving. And I think, Raul, you had such conflict, letting go of that control of like always having to look at it to know where like what Abigail was doing, where she was going, what time she was getting home. But then the more that you surrender into the idea that, okay, like my little girl needs to grow up and she needs to find her own ways and she needs to be in her own space. And all I could really do from here, from being so far away, is pray for her and trust that we raised a really good child. What did it do to me to see you fight that battle? Is, you know what, first of all, I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one, right? Like I'm not the only one wanting to have this control. And also to see you, that like you love so deeply, and I love to see that, especially in a man, to show that, even though it turned into like this crazy control, and then realizing that I really have control of nothing. And how do I let this go? I love to see that process in real time, and to see you with the conflict of it, because I also had that conflict. For me, it was easier, I guess, because I've prayed so much more, maybe. Like, I'm telling you, this is one of the things where like when God asks you to pray and really surrender, it's not from a place of weakness. It's from a place of, how do I soften into this idea that I really have no control of anything? And I got to see that in you, like just the lessons that you've gotten. And it's just like, okay, Lord, wow, you could really do miracles with Raul.
And that's where I think that this year, what really challenged me is to really start letting go of control and allow God to show me the process. Because it's easy to talk about like, trust the process, right? That's what I coach my guys all the time. Trust the process, surrender, until you have to surrender the most valuable thing that you have, which is my daughter, my son. And then now, for you guys who don't know, my daughter went to school overseas. And that was a big challenge for me. A big challenge to actually like look at the Life 360 and see, okay, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Where is she? Is she going to be safe? Is she going to be getting to her dorm fine? Who's with her, right? So the first week really challenged me to actually trust that I raised a good daughter. Trust that I raised somebody with principles. Trust that she's not going to be doing some crazy shit out there with the rest of the kids.
And also, it's, you say trust in the process, but we've done the work along the process, right? Like it's not like, oh, trust the process and I'm not going to do anything for it. We, as parents, as human beings, we have set a standard for our family. We have set standard for the people that we're around. So they also know, like, if they do something that doesn't fit that standard, that they've been living this way, it's not only failing us, they fail themselves. And I know, like, I see that with my son all the time. It's like he's trusting the process, but because the process has a standard of, like, how do I live life? If you want to go do something, I always tell him, I'm like, everything that you do has a consequence. Whether it's good or bad, there's a ripple effect of what something's going to happen in your life or somebody else's life. And I love to think that I am on the side of their head, just whispering these things to them, being that gentle reminder that we all could mess up. But if there's a gentle voice that guides us, that protects us, we'll make better choices. And they teach us. They teach us. I'm telling you, like, this year has been one of those years where our capacity to trust has grown tremendously. And I think when you trust in them, you also come back and trust yourself that you've done a good job. And you appreciate all the work that you've done. Like, I appreciate all the work that you've done. And I don't know if, like, maybe I don't tell you enough, but you've done an amazing job just being that leader at home, so they could follow that when they're not around.
And that's exactly what happened in a circle retreat, because we had a couple of men who brought their spouses to retreat. And just to see the shift on how women see their men when men are talking about the things that they're grateful for.
Yeah.
A lot of men, the first thing, I see all the men, the first thing is like, I'm grateful for my kids, I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful that I was able to overcome these challenges. And their wives, when they came to the retreat, they thought that all we're going to talk about is business.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the first time that I see my husband talk about this with me when it comes to how proud he is of the family. And I think that we don't say this enough as men, that the reason we are doing what we're doing is because we want to create a legacy. And it's not just about business, it's not just about making money, it's really about creating a better future for our kids, a better future for our family. Now, in the other side, we are crazy men. Like, we go into, like, being an entrepreneur, you have to be crazy. 90% of entrepreneurs fail, right? So you have to have that crazy part in your brain that goes into the battlefield believing that you're going to succeed when 90% of the market says you're going to fail, right?
Yeah, the intensity, how you guys live, is completely different than most men out there. And that's why I could totally relate to the women that came to this event, because they've seen their man with this intensity living every single day when it comes to their business. And now they're living with the same intensity, the same passion at home. And they could actually applaud that, and they appreciate the fact that it's not all about business. And that was kind of like the theme, right? Of, like, the sense of gratitude that you said. Grateful for what they have and the legacy that they're building, because the business is kind of like, I got this. It's not, I wouldn't say autopilot, but they have that down packed. They know how to do it.
And we talked about it yesterday with one of the Inner Circle members and his wife. Like, their relationship could be the superpower or the kryptonite. Right? And I think that's where the gratitude comes in, is you gotta be grateful for the relationship. You gotta be grateful for your family. You have to be grateful for the things you overcome. Like even something as silly as Chanel getting hurt, right?
Right.
That takes us off course. The masculine energy cannot be creating and going to the battlefield and nurturing, a sick dog or nurturing a sick child, right? That's where the feminine energy comes in. And that's where, like, for me, I'm grateful that I had you to hold the space for me to nurture the kids, to nurture that part, so I could actually go into the battlefield and go to war and fight the battles I need to fight in order for me to conquer this game.
Yeah, I love that. Gratitude.
And that's the muscle that we have to build. I think a lot of us, we live in a world that we feel entitled. The opposite of gratitude is feeling entitled, that we feel like we should have more. We should be more.
Yeah, and also I feel like we live in an era where we don't express it enough, because we didn't take a lot of time. It wasn't like a couples retreat. It was a business, I guess, in a circle retreat. But there was a sense of, like, we had the time, we created the space where we could express these emotions. And actually, if you are grateful, if you feel this appreciation, like, say it out loud. And I know, like, for me, that's kind of where I am right now. Your words have really built me up. And vice versa.
And that's the second question that we ask him is, what's the challenge that you have overcome that you could feel proud that you overcame that challenge and you learned the biggest lesson, right? And like you said, most of us will learn the biggest lessons from the biggest challenges, right? So, like, for me, when I look back in 2025, one of the challenges is really looking at, where do I want to be in the next 10 years?
That's your challenge?
Because the challenge that we have as men is sometimes we get comfortable. Like 10 years doing this, we have a solid foundation, we're good, kids are good, the business is doing good, but sometimes we need to disrupt the good to become great. And that's a challenge that, like, for me is like, do I want to push more? Do I want to push harder? Or can I just cruise through what I have?
Wow, I would never think that about you. I would think like you're always striving for more. And that's what always hear you say that, which is true. It's like the gift and the curse, that you know that there's a next level.
Well, but that's exactly what I'm saying. That's the gift and the curse. Like now, the gift is that we're pushing. But then, I'm turning 50. I'm surrounded with amazing men. Like, when do you have that moment that you say, you know what?
It's enough.
I'm gonna enjoy this, or I'm gonna enjoy the growth.
I think you enjoy it for a minute or two, and then you're like, okay, what's next? Because the way that you operate, like you're always wanting more. And again, like I love that about you, and I've accepted that part of you, right? Because you create, and then it's like, okay, what's next? Because your capacity grows. And when I understood that, I was like, okay, I can't get in the way, I can't stop you. I can maybe slow you down so you could actually savor everything that you've created in this moment, and I hope that you do, but I'm never going to stop you, because I just feel like you thrive so much in creating.
And see, the challenge for me is like, there is a version of me that I want in my mind of what I want, right? Mm-hmm. But there's also a version of me at a soul level that knows that I've already have what I want at this moment. So if you can appreciate what you have, like we went to an event, the Man of the Arena event, right? 1,000 guys in the arena, right? And when I was in the stage, like sharing my message and helping this man break through, what came to me at that moment is as I was seeing the whole arena, my vision, my dream is to have 10,000 men, but then I was content with those 1,000 men. Like I wasn't thinking, oh, I wish I had more. No, this was enough. So the challenge for me that I had to break through, because this year for me was the year of the breakthrough, is reinventing myself to the level of not wanting more from the place of the mind, but pursuing from at a soul level of what God wants from me. Mm-hmm. And I think this is the first year that I've been really dabbling in reading the Bible every single day, going to the Bible study that you created, amazing Bible study that we have at the house, really trusting God and getting to know Jesus at a different level, not necessarily like Jesus and God as the religion, but getting to know Jesus and God at a level of being guided, not from the place of give me more, but from a place of I want to become more. And I don't know if it makes sense. I have to become less so God could become more.
Yeah.
So that was the challenge for me, because I always believe I have to become more. I have to be bigger. I have to do have more success. Mm-hmm. But then this year, God really showed me, no, you have to become less so I could become more.
It's kind of the same thing when he says, like in your weakness, when you show up in your weaknesses, when you show him your weakness, that's the time for him to show you his strength. And sometimes we think like, okay, I'm going to put away all my challenges. I'm going to put away all my weaknesses. I'm not going to show it. But then that just defeats the whole purpose, because there is no sense of growth if we don't accept those things.
Yeah. And then after that, all the challenges, a lot of challenges, the business, pivoting, creating new programs, creating new marketing materials. So all these challenges as we go through, like challenges that we've had as a couple too. Like we had challenges this year with family, with the kids. Mm-hmm. There is no shortage of challenges.
Always.
But what are you learning from, right? So that's a conversation that we constantly have, is that what are we learning from the challenges? Especially at the end of the year, like sitting down and looking at what's the biggest lesson? Mm-hmm. How did you show up? How did you learn? Yeah. What's some of the patterns? A pattern that I saw in my life is really the pattern of not giving myself the permission to be that version of Raul that's already accomplished what he wants to accomplish. It's like if I want to go to the next level, I can't operate as the version of Raul right now. If I want to go to the next level, I have to operate already as if I already got to the next level. Mm. So when I'm in the stage, I'm not talking to 100 guys, 200 guys. I'm talking to 10,000 men already. Before they even show up, I'm already talking as if they're there. So giving myself the permission to actually see that version of myself and see you and see the kids and see the team. But that's where, that's the breakthrough. That's the challenge that we have to go, like, reinvent ourselves, let go of the idea of who we are so we could see who we're becoming or who we could be.
That was the same thing for me. I think that's one of my things this year. And I think even though I want to let go of this and I want to like move on to the next thing, for me, it was also identity of who I was, who I am, and who I want to be, kind of like what you're saying. But when I always ask the question, like, who am I in Christ? And it's just so much more than I could ever imagine, and I see it. But how do I get to that place? And it has to be in alignment to what I'm feeling right now. And I know that was for a lot of women that we're talking about this, is how do we see ourselves? And how do we really show up in our relationship, in our business, with our families? And if we're really honest, we're not showing up to the best version that we could be.
And you know what? When we don't show up 100% and we still get the results, that is the curse. Because I talk to so many men that they're like, man, I'm killing it in my business, but I'm half-assing it. Like, I just talked to a guy right now. He closed almost $100 million in real estate. He said, Raul, I've been doing this with my hand behind my back because, you know, I'm dealing with all these challenges, right? Because they refuse to grow. They refuse to break through. So I said, imagine what you could do if you actually go all in. Imagine what you could do 100%. If you let go of that version of you, the illusion of who you think you are. Because that's what the reason that we don't show up 100% is because we have that fear and that doubt of what if I fail? What if me going all in is not enough?
Yeah, I agree. And another thing that I took away from us being at this event is a sense of community. I can't tell you enough how powerful it feels to be in a room where everybody understands each other, or even if you don't understand it, there is not a place of judgment, but it's a place of just listening to what you're going through. And we've all gone through something similar at a different time, so we could kind of relate. And just having that energy of like, okay, I see the challenge, I hear what you're saying, but what's possible? And not from a place of like, okay, I'm going to tell you what to do, but just this deep knowing that I know what I need to do. And not feeling judged and not feeling a sense of scarcity, but knowing that there's so much abundance around me that I could do this at my own pace and my own timing. And that's also something that we always talk about for me, for the women. It's like, what is your timing? Find what it is for you that feels right. Find that deep alignment that we have in our feminine, in our like this divine creatures that we are. And then, you know, do what feels right to you and the best version of you at the moment. And it was so just beautiful to witness that, how everybody just in that sense of community were able to feel that.
Because we believe that proximity is power, right? We believe that the moment that you get into proximity with people that are at the same level of vibration, the same level of the journey, that you're going to get there faster.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where we cast the vision. What's the vision? What's the vision for 2026? What's the vision for your marriage? What's the vision for your business? What's the vision overall, right?
Yeah.
If as a man, your job is to cast the vision. So that's the third question, is what's the vision? Can you share the vision of your business with your partner? Can you share the vision of where you want to go with your kids? That was the common denominator. Every single man that was there said, you know what? I need to do this with my family. I need to do this with my kids. I need to cast the vision because I know what the vision is. But sometimes we don't share it or we don't talk about it because we're so in the battlefield, in the arena, in the ground, that we don't look around and say, hey, here's where we're going.
And that was a big difference too, because a lot of the men, they know where they're going. They're such like kick-ass type of people. But okay, you have your vision, but you've never shared it with your significant other. You've never shared it with your family, even with your business partners. So how do they know where you're going? How do they know that this like energy, this madness is because you're getting to this place that's so massive that I had no idea, that I don't even understand it. But the minute that you actually chunk it down and make it feasible for everybody to understand around you, then it's kind of like, okay, we're all in the same place. I know why this is happening. Now I'm going to follow you because I believe in what you're doing. I believe in you. I believe that it could happen, and I'm going to help you get there.
You know, one of the things that I saw with a lot of the women that were there is that they wanted to be included in the vision. like as a woman, as a partner, you need to make sure that that you are part of the vision, as opposed to, hey, that's his vision. That's like a divided kingdom is gonna fall apart. There has to be one vision, one mission, and then both working towards that.
Okay, but then what happens with say not necessarily in a circle because they're all in the same place, but what if they're not in the same?
Well, that is a challenge, right?
Yeah.
That's what you have to work towards. Can we work towards it? Because you and I, we were not in the same page for many years. Like, we started to connect at a higher level when I started casting the vision and said, like, this is where we're going. And then you started to believe that you were in the vision, because you're always part of the vision. But what happens with women is that sometimes you say, you know what, that's your business, that's your goal, that's what they do. I'm just here as a supportive wife. I'm just here as like the, and behind the scenes. No, you are right next to me. We're like, you are covering my back, as a matter of fact. You're like watching, make sure that I don't get killed from like blindsides. Yeah. And that's where the power of the woman lies.
And that doesn't happen unless you really constantly share your vision with me, because the minute that I don't understand it, that's the reason we're like, okay, I don't even understand where you're going, so I'm just going to step away. I just don't see myself as part of it. So that's why, like, you've done something for me that's constant and very clear, and almost like chunking it down to pieces that I could actually, bite into and feel like, okay, I got this. It's not overwhelming. And the more that I've stepped into that place of like, okay, I understand it, I love it, I'm going to be here for you, then my capacity has also grown, so I could be there for you.
So to wrap it up, we got 3 questions. Number 1 is, what are you grateful for?
Grateful.
Make sure that you don't end this year without actually looking at how far you've come. What are the things that you're grateful for? The second question is, what are the challenges that you overcame that gave you the biggest lessons? What are some of the things that you could actually say, I overcame this challenge, I got this lesson, I found this pattern so I could interrupt it so I don't repeat the same pattern next year. And the last one, what's the vision? What's the vision for 2026? What's the vision for the next year? What's the vision for your marriage, for your business, for your health, for your connection with God? Because a man without a vision will perish.
I love that. Yes. Create the time, create the space so you could actually have those conversations. It's not easy, but it's so worth it. I think once you sit down and you have that clarity, then you're almost feel like you're conquering already 2026. Don't wait until January. Do it now. It's the best time for you to really sit down and be with your thoughts, your ideas. If you need to look back and find this place of gratitude, like I always do, like go back into the pictures. If you take pictures or videos, then you realize like, wow, I've done so much. Like there's so many things that have come through my life in this last couple of months. Maybe I've forgotten or I haven't taken inventory of it, like in my emotional field. But when you do that, journal it and allow it to be yours, and allow the space where if you have a spouse or you have your kids, share that with them, because I think it makes such an impact to be in that place.
And I'll end this with a quick comment. The biggest challenge that we have as men is every time that the end of the year comes, we feel that we could have done more, that we should have done more, and we go into a place of regret and guilt and shame. Don't enter 2026 with guilt and shame and regret. If you're gonna enter a new year, kill that version of you that made those mistakes. Eliminate excuses, eliminate that version that made those mistakes, and forgive yourself. Let go. Because the moment you start letting go of that version that you were,
there's space to create a new one.
the next level is gonna, the moment that you let go of the version that you were in the past, you create space for the new version to emerge.
Yeah, I love that.
So thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Learn it,
live it, experience it, love life.
Love life.
To Ignite Your Passion podcast, my name is Vivian Villacis.
Hi, my name is Raul Villacis, and in this podcast, we're going to help you ignite your passion in your business, in your marriage, and in your life.